Good morning, church. My name is Anita Wood. I've recently been reintroduced to the story of Abraham and Isaac and how this tiny story ties up into the big picture story of the Bible. In Genesis chapter 12, we meet Abraham. Before that, we learn about the fall and about humankind's descent into sin, which leads to violence, death, and broken relationships. In chapter 12, though, God comes with an amazing promise to Abraham. He says to him that I will turn you into a great nation and that I will bless all the peoples of the world through you. Wow, what an amazing promise. But despite this promise, Abraham makes a couple of wrong choices. Twice he actually denies that Sarah is his wife and basically gives her away. And eventually Sarah gets tired of waiting on God's promise and she convinces Abraham to sleep with her maidservant. Finally, despite these wrong choices, God gives them a son in their old age. And in chapter 22, God comes to Abraham and he says to him, Abraham, I want you to take this son, your only son, the son that you love, and I want you to sacrifice him to me. This time, Abraham trusts the Lord. He acts in obedience and he acts immediately. He takes Isaac and his servants, takes wood and everything he needs for a fire, and they go to the place that God leads them. On the way up to the mountain, Isaac asks his father, Dad, we've got wood and we've got fire, where's the lamb that we're going to sacrifice? And Abraham responds, God will provide. At the top of the mountain though, Abraham ties up Isaac, he places him on the altar, he's about to sacrifice him when God stops him, and he provides him with a substitute sacrifice in the shape of a ram caught in a bush. This story is amazing to me for a couple of reasons. Looking at Abraham and the choices that he has been presented with on numerous occasions makes me wonder about my own choices. Do I act out of faith, trusting that the way the Lord is showing me is the way to life, even if it doesn't look conventional? Or do I act out of fear and selfishness, like Abraham did a couple of times? And what does those choices lead to? The second thing that I just noticed about the story is the big sacrifice that Abraham was asked to make. And we know from the Bible that we aren't expected to sacrifice humans to God. But it makes me ask the question, what is required of me? In Micah 6, the prophet asks exactly the same question. He says in verse 8, and what does the Lord require of you? The answer comes immediately. To act justly and to love mercy, to walk humbly with your God. And finally, I get really excited about the fact that in this story of Abraham, in Genesis, right at the start of the Bible, Jesus is already introduced through a substitute sacrifice. Jesus is our substitute sacrifice. And this story is pointing to that. It's pointing to the truth that by choosing Jesus, we are choosing life over death. We are choosing peace over violence, and we are choosing a relationship with the Creator of the world. I hope that the story of Abraham and Isaac speaks to you today, and that as you go through your day, you will chew on it and you will ask the Lord how this applies to your life.